Hello and welcome to episode 75 of the Perth Paisley Podcast, a podcast dedicated to Heart of Midlothian Football Club, still third in the Scottish Premiership through to the Scottish Cup quarter-finals, albeit by the skin of our teeth. And joining me, Adam Kennedy. Well, we're actually 3/4 of the way to 100 as well to discuss all about the men in maroon is Mr. Daniel McIver. What's happening, my man?
I'm doing... I was going to say I'm doing well. But outside of Hearts, I'm doing well. Newcastle, 3 wins on the bounce. It was the Super Bowl at the weekend. I've had a couple of days off work, so that's all going great. Anything to do with Hearts is a different matter, but generally, I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good, mate. Now you've got me wondering, when have Hearts and Newcastle ever performed in tandem? Like you said just a couple of weeks ago that was the last time, that they'd won in like a year and a half or something like that on the same weekend.
Yeah.
And even then, was that the Talbot game?
Yes, it was.
So had we lost that, then it would have never probably happened ever again.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? I'm good. I've got to be honest. The second game that we'll discuss, my father attended, and he hasn't gone to a lot of Hearts games recently for whatever reason. And he said to me that I'm wasting far too much money watching this shite. So if that's ever, an introductory sentence, then I couldn't think of any better than that. Wasting money on absolute nonsense. But the things that we do for this football club and the things that we do for you lot with coming up with these episodes, sometimes they're fantastic forms of therapy. Other times it's a harsh reminder of what's just been. I think that'll probably be the latter for these two performances. But the first of which is the really, really, really bad game to discuss. We're going to go around the grounds. So on Wednesday, the 9th of February, there was an entire Premiership fixture card to be played. You love it, those midweek matches. And there was, of course, 6 in Scotland's top tier. The first of which took place at Pittodrie as Aberdeen were 2-0 down to Celtic early doors, got it back to 2 each, but ultimately lost 3-2. Dundee United breezed past Motherwell 2-0 at Tannadice. Tony Watts going against his former club, bagging his first United goal. I think that was probably the bet of the night. Was I on it? Of course I wasn't. Rangers beat Hibs at Ibrox again by the same scoreline 2-0. Ross County and Livingston played out a 1-1 draw in Dingwall. And my only correct score for who scored was in the Battle of the Saints, as I predicted St Mirren to beat St Johnstone by 2-1 in Paisley. What did you make of the other 5 matches before we get on to discuss our stunning display against Dundee, Mr. McIver?
No much, really, to be honest. I think they kind of all went the way I was expecting them to go, honestly, because we saw that stat that was birthed after this run of games on last Wednesday night, that out of the last 17 games that Aberdeen, Hibs and Motherwell have played, they have won zilch. Absolutely 0 of them. And including of that, it's not like they had like 13 draws. It was 6 draws and 11 defeats. It's a great time to be watching the quality of the Scottish top flight. I don't know what
it's just bonkers to me that like St Mirren and Ross County can realistically have their thoughts on like the top 4.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I say top 6, but top 4 genuinely is not a stretch. I think St Mirren are something like 3 points off it. I've not looked at the table coincidentally.
Well, this is the thing. We are recording on the 15th at 7:45. Aberdeen, no, not Aberdeen. Yeah, Aberdeen, St Mirren.
Managerless Aberdeen hosts St Johnstone at Pittodrie tonight.
St Johnstone. So if Aberdeen if Aberdeen lose, there is a chance that if St Mirren then win their next game, they will go to within 7 points of us if we also lose our next game.
Wow.
It's all happening.
I mean, Aberdeen could move up to 6th with a win. Managerless Aberdeen, but we'll come to that later on. And St Johnstone are now, of course, back on bottom spot. And the reason being is down to Hearts' defeat to Dundee at Tynecastle by 2-1, having taken the lead against bottom of the table Dundee. Oh, how I can't wait to discuss this 90 minutes. What a thrilling match that was. I think I sort of agree with you. I don't think anything was all that surprising. I think Celtic's record at Pittodrie. Can we stop within the media this myth that Aberdeen away is a tricky fixture for Celtic? I genuinely believe Aberdeen have the worst record of any Scottish team against Celtic ever.
Probably, especially because in the last 9 years they've played them a lot.
They've supposedly been the closest to them. Yeah.
That's probably true actually, because we've
in
us
Rangers
and Hibs at least had at least a couple of years away from playing them. We only had one away. Rangers had 4, and Hibs had 3. So
even then, I think Rangers as a championship side probably beat Celtic more recently than Aberdeen. I can tell you Aberdeen's last win against Celtic.
I was just about to ask that actually. I can't think of the last time Aberdeen beat Celtic, whether it be in the league or in a cup competition. We might be missing something massive, but I can't think of anything else.
But I genuinely, I think prior to the game, I'd seen that they've won something like their last 25 or 27 against them, or something ridiculous like that. I'm not really all that surprised elsewhere, to be honest. I thought United might get held at home by Motherwell, obviously with the Well occupying 4th for as long as they have. That's quite a good result for us, albeit Dundee United might pick up again. We don't really know. I don't really care. Rangers 2, Hibs 0. Hilarious that Rangers got an early pen, and then from there, that was it.
And Hibs were denied an absolute stone wall penalty as well during that.
But I mean, talking of penalties being awarded, what about the St Mirren one against St Johnstone? Did you see that?
Yes, I did see that.
Oh my goodness gracious me. How is that a spot kick? Genuinely. If that cost St Johnstone, they have every right to be raging. These are the types of clashes. Like, say St Johnstone get relegated by, I don't know, a point, and they could have picked up said point against St Mirren. Do you know what I mean? Like these. Yeah.
It's been a week of mental penalty decisions as well, because there's been some in the cup game.
The Scottish Cup.
Yeah.
Oh, dearie me.
It's crazy.
But look, the cup's to come, and like I say, we're going to dissect the Dundee defeat now. There were 3 changes from the Hearts team that was battered 5-0 and governed by Rangers. Andy Halliday, Peter Haring, and Ellis Sims replaced Alex Cochrane, Cammy Devlin, and Aaron McInnes. So the Jambos lined up as follows. It was Craig Gordon in goal, back 3 of Stephen Kingsley, Toby Civic, and John Suter, Andy Halliday and Taylor Moore at left and right wing back respectively. Benny Beringame and Peter Haring were the duo in the middle of the park, with Barry Mackay supporting Liam Boyce and Ellis Sims up front.
No, they weren't. And this is the first problem.
Yeah. Talk to me about the team and what you thought about the team, because obviously we were in the programme as well for the Dundee and Livingston matches, talking about 2 up top, Sims and Boyce potentially connecting. But like you say, it didn't really transpire that way, McIver, did it?
No, it didn't, Adam. It didn't at all, because I was excited. I was like, oh, we're going 2 up top. And by 2 up top, we mean those 2 through the middle. And it's like, okay, this is going to be actually not bad. Defensively, it's pretty suspect. I was terrified about the wing backs, because I'm like, that's not great.
I was probably more terrified at Taylor Moore as a right wing back than Halliday on the left, just because Halliday's played there before. And like I'd voiced my concerns last week, Taylor Moore is slower than a week in jail. Potential pace of that Dundee team. I mean, I know they're not the greatest. They're obviously occupying now 11th spot. But I think Paul McMullen's not. Paul
McMullen's fast as fuck.
They've definitely got pace to exploit us, and obviously it transpired that way, didn't it? So,
but then, even taking away all that, you go, right, okay, listen, might be a bit suspect at the back, but we've got that 2 up top. We're finally playing Sims and Boyce together, like we did once against Motherwell, and it fucking worked. And apparently it's just been like, right, we're never doing that again because that worked. So I'm going to do something different.
If it works once, leave it. Don't risk overdoing it.
Yeah. So we actually played the usual 3-4-3 with Boyce out wide left. And this is what happened under Stendhal when in January Boyce was playing out wide left, and people were going, Boyce is rubbish, he's not good enough. And everybody with a brain was going, well, he's not playing in his correct position. He's a striker, he's a number 9. Why are we playing him as a winger? And apparently, we've just decided, Ellis Sims is here, who is good. I really like Ellis Sims immediately. I'm fully on board the Sims train. However, not at the expense of Boyce. If you don't play them both through the middle, you can only play one of them.
I mean, square pegs and round holes. We've seen this for the best part of a decade. I thought we'd moved away from this nonsense. Does this not just sort of compound our logic last week when we said that we're not quite there yet and not the finished article yet?
Yes, because we have no one good enough to play wide left. I trust Barry Mackay in every position he occupies. Right? Yeah. Whenever Barry Mackay plays, I'm like, good. Barry Mackay's there and I trust him.
This is the big takeaway for me, because we'll come on to the Livingston game later on, but Andy Halliday starts on the left. Like, what is Ben Woodburn, Gary Mackay-Steven, Josh Ginnelly all thinking when a left back and central midfield player at times is occupying a spot in the team ahead of those three that I mentioned that all pretty much occupy a wide area? Does that not speak volumes about how Barry Mackay is head and shoulders above any of our other wide players?
Well, we'll get to it. I don't actually think Halliday was playing wide left on Livingston, but that's purely because of a different thing that I have an issue with that we will get to later. However, your point still stands.
120 minutes was an absolute snooze fest. I was watching it like this.
Yeah. Your point still stands, though, that we have played Cochrane at left wing at times. We have, at times, played Halliday left wing.
What is this?
We've played McInnes out wide right or left. And yeah, it screams at those three in particular that you guys haven't been good enough, and I'd rather play players out of position than
any of you three numpties.
Yeah.
That being said, were those three not the numpties that he brought off the bench in this game?
Yeah.
How can you bring three players off the bench and you look weaker than when you started?
He did the FM tactic. I know we're kind of jumping ahead to the end, but the FM tactic of, oh my God, I'm getting beat. Just
as many attackers as possible.
Yeah, just fuck the defence, fuck the system. Just get all the strikers and wingers on the pitch.
One ball playing defender, lump it long,
yeah.
Just stick it to somebody up in the box and hope that somebody's lurking.
Yes. A 1-2-7.
Really
Dundee game started off, though, very well.
Well, this is it, because first half, I feel as though there was genuinely one team in the game. It was. Yeah. And my only frustration is, and I talked about it before in the derby, these inexperienced and backup goalkeepers is not really testing them early. I think there was an instance within the first sort of 5 minutes where Andy Halliday gets a ball on the left-hand side, crosses at the back stick looking for Sims, and Ian Lawler just drops the ball, and Liam Fontaine is behind him, basically protecting the ball as it's like trickling back towards goal. So then I'm thinking, this lot are bottom of the league, obviously, on the night. Like, let's get them under early doors. You know, defensively, they leak goals for fun. And it just seemed like we didn't really carve out that many decent chances. We carved out a few, but they all seem to be through, in this particular case, Benny Beningame and then Barry Mackay, really, as far as the highlights were concerned for me.
So this is the thing, like, we were very dominant, and it's been the case in the last two games, including Liverpool, which we'll also get to speak about, where we've been totally dominant, but we're not doing a lot with it. However, in the first half of Dundee, I felt that we at least were trying. There was cases where, obviously, we'll get to the goal, but there was another chance where Barry Mackay, I don't think Barry Mackay's ever going to score for us, right? He's now at 24 games out scoring, right?
I get the impression it's not going to come because of a chance in this game.
Yes, and we create that chance, we have the goal, there's a couple others, and it's like, I'm fine with that. I'm fine in a half where you're totally dominant, you create a few chances, you don't necessarily take them all. If you then continue that into the second half,
bag one early, done.
Yeah.
And that was the thing, because that was my exact thought heading into half time. If we talk about the first half generally, I think the only really time I felt somewhat threatened was Charlie Adams sent in a corner, which again, Liam Fontaine's like bicycle kicking back toward the box because it's gone so far. comes out to Sean Byrne, who heads back in, but then Zach Rudden balloons one over the bar. And at that point, I was thinking, come on, Hearts. Like, surely it's only a matter of time before we open the scoring. I was rightfully feeling very optimistic ahead of the Dundee game. I thought, do you know what? The last 2 games haven't been great. We haven't scored in 2 league games against, albeit Hibs and Rangers. Battered at Ibrox, but we should have enough to beat this mob. And when Ellis Sims puts us 1-0 up, after 20 minutes, I'm expecting Hearts to grab a second as soon as kill the tie. Because 18 minutes in, Barry Mackay's the first to really test Lawler. He and Benny Beningame were linking up, like I say, test him. But again, a decent save for a relatively inexperienced goalkeeper. But John Suter eventually is the one that hooks clear. Barry Mackay and Benny Beningame, lovely wee give and go. And then my midfield magician slips in Ellis Sims, who is at an angle and slides past, dare I say, through the Dundee goalkeeper to give us that lead. What did you make of the goal? Because it was right in front of me and absolutely dreadful goalkeeping.
Yeah, I am. As it went in, I turned to my brother and was like, we need to keep just peppering him because clearly he's not confident at all. It would then be our luck that he'd like apparently gets it to his system with that and pulls out worldies for the rest of the game. But
absolute shock.
In that moment, I was like, this is well done. I don't think a lot of people are giving enough credit to Sims for the finish. Yes, listen, the keeper is disgraceful, but Sims hits it at a good angle and he hits it with enough power that it causes the mistake to be made, and it is a good finish, despite it also being a bad goalkeeping error.
And I think sliding as well, that chance is probably harder than most folk will give him credit for.
Absolutely.
Albeit the finish isn't all that convincing, but listen, it does enough. And given the circumstance that we were in, like I say, with having not scored in 2 league games, I'll take that every single day of the week.
Yeah.
But we had mentioned a chance that could change the entire complexion of the game, ultimately kill off the contest, like I love to say every single week. Peter Haring goes long, successfully finds Barry Mackay, keeps his first touch close before his second one just looks to scoop up over Ian Lawler, who rushes out to meet him. Ryan Sweeney hooks off the line to keep the visitors in the contest. Barry Mackay, his first Hearts goal. It's my biggest fear currently when watching Hearts, Mackay, that he's just never going to score.
He's never going
for Heart and Midlothian football.
He's never going to. And listen, I think I just saw actually, was it today or yesterday that he actually won Player of the Month for the last month?
Yesterday, I think.
Yeah, he's fully deserving of that, and he is easily our most creative player. But it is getting to be a problem now. He needs to have like 24 games or whatever it is. That's bad. I know he's got 7 assists in that time as well, and he should have more assists
this season by a country mile. Yeah,
he should have more assists. He's actually joint second in the league for assists as well.
Is he?
Yeah, with like 4 other players. There's like him, Abada. I think there's another Celtic player. I think Jota's also got ridiculous assists.
Whilst you, that's a great wee stat.
But
carry on.
But he needs to sort it out in terms of goal scoring, because obviously, as I say there, he's got 7 assists and he should have more because people who he's played in should be taking their chances. But because they aren't, and I know it's a bit harsh, but his stats aren't as good as they probably should be if players either A, actually convert in the chances that he's given them, and then however, primarily, he needs to be scoring himself. He's our only creative player. So if he doesn't score, we're knackered.
This is it. I think these last 2 games have told me that we are so dependent on Barry Mackay that on these chances where he can do no more,
I think he should just hit that first time. I don't think he should take a touch.
On these particular days where he carves out great chances for the strikers to miss, they don't take them. He can do no more, then we're done, as far as I'm concerned, because we've not got anybody of that same ilk that can carve opportunities out of nothing. We've not got anybody that looks confident enough to take on a man and beat them and ultimately put it on a plate for our offensive players like he can. He's by far and away our most creative player, and we don't have anybody of that same ilk, and that's a massive, massive worry. Because when he doesn't perform, you could argue we don't perform.
Yeah, I know that there's been an aspect of he's been getting brought off in games because I think he does kind of peter out of games. I don't know if it's just because I'm not saying there that he's no fit or anything like that, because I don't think that's the thing, but I don't know what it is. But just as games kind of go on, I feel like he has less and less influence. I don't know if it's just because he is so intense in the first 45 that he kind of keeps drilling away. But it means that if we don't get the lead in the first 45 / don't cement the victory, as you say, it is very much like, oh, he's got to taper out, and either he'll get replaced by somebody who's worse than him, or he'll stay on the park but physically won't be able to create as much as he's able to. And that can also affect his position. I think Robbie wants to play him centrally because then it means he can drift, and it means he can kind of cover
and he picks
all
up
areas.
Pockets either side.
Yeah. Because when he's on one side, it means all our creativity comes down that side, and all the opposition has to do is put a man on. And that kind of comes to my general point. I think the system has been found out.
And I guess in an ideal world, in this system, like you say, it might well have been found out, but the wing backs would bomb on.
Yeah.
So then he picks up the little pockets so that, I don't know, say Michael Smith or Nathaniel Atkinson or Stephen Kingsley, Alex Cochrane, whoever.
Yeah.
If they're crossing and, like loose balls around the box, he can pick those up, slip through to either Boyce or Sims, alternatively receive from Beringame, Haring, Devlin, whoever's in there. But I don't know. He has to play centrally, but then why?
But then it means all the width is reliant on the wing backs. And if we don't have in my opinion, if we don't have Smith and Cochrane as the wing backs, we're not going to get any width out of any of the other ones.
No, but then again, if we're playing a 3-4-3, Liam Boyce ain't a winger.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
We need a change-up of some sorts, I think. I don't know what the solution is, but we were talking about Barry Mackay. I've just had a look at the Scottish Premiership top scorers chart, and the BBC have obviously got the top assists in the little kind of tab next to it. So James Tavernier's out on his own with 11 assists and 6 goals in 24 games. Then you've got a plethora of players. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in total, tied in second place on 6 assists. Liel Abada, Tom Rogic, and Anthony Ralston, all of Celtic. Paul McMullen of Dundee, obviously our opponents in the game that we were discussing, and our very own Barry Mackay.
I knew it was loads of Celtic folk. I couldn't remember who it was, but I knew it was loads of Celtic folk.
You're right with Abada, Rogic, and Ralston are the other two. Alfredo Morelos, coincidentally, is 7th on his own, tied with Jota, Jordan White, and Ryan Kent. So there you go.
Well then,
that's a bit bizarre.
Yeah.
But yeah, Barry, by far and away our best player in an offensive sense.
Yeah.
And that is the frustration, that it's him and only him. I don't know. I just think that elsewhere within the first half, Charlie Adam blazed one over the bar as they went to search for an equaliser. And Paul McMullen sent one to Gordon's near post. Again, it would have had to have been some strike to beat Gordon from firstly the range that he's at, and secondly at his near post. Ellis Sims, there was a chance that he had following another Barry Mackay effort, but this isn't the main talking point from this chance, because Mackay and Beningame are again linking up. Little give and go yet again, bizarrely, and the former forces a save out of Ian Lawler. Sims then nods the rebound towards goal, which the keeper saves, and then goes out from a corner. But the talking point for me isn't Barry Mackay's dancing feet, nor is it Sims's sitter. It's Charlie Adam being Charlie Adam, looking to do someone on the deck. What an absolute scumbag. And I can appreciate Charlie Adam had a phenomenal footballing career, but I'm not keen whatsoever on him considering recent allegations. Not going to go into that. But as far as I'm concerned, he is a total fandan.
I mean, all we need to say on it really is that the last thing he's going to do in it as a professional footballer is captain his boyhood club to relegation. So, well in, Charlie. You stood on someone's back. Well done. You're a real hard guy. Well, we're third and you're about to get relegated. So, well then.
I'm given that he was one of these that would claim that Dundee would mount a title challenge last season to us as well.
Remember that? That was funny,
it's going
wasn't
really
it?
well for Charlie Adam.
Remember when they got beat 6-2 and then came out greeting, speaking about Rangers? That was really funny.
What an absolute helmet. But yeah.
How was he not sent off for that, by the way? How was it? So this is the thing. As I say, I'm at the other end of the same stand to you, so I couldn't see what happened. I just saw Boyce in particular fucking lose his mind and try and fight. So I was like, what happened? But my dad somehow saw it. He was like, he's just stamped on his back. He's just stamped on his back. And it's insane. You watch the replay of it, he just stamps on his back. How is it nothing? It's either like it should be a red, but it's at least a booking.
I'm not even going to ask your thoughts on VAR because, again, that's another one for them.
That would get given on the VR!
But, yeah, Charlie Adam and Dundee fans would get some joy within that second half because that was...
What happened at half-time? What did Robbie say to them? Did Robbie go, that's it, by the way, lads? Just, we've won?
We were talking about Football Manager earlier. He's obviously just spacebarred by accident and just left into the second half.
That is what's happened. He's walked in and walked out again, and they're all like, "What's happened?"
It's like that Simpsons gif, isn't it, of Grandpa?
Yeah,
he walks into that room, just hangs his hat up, does that little circle.
That is so what's happened, and they're all went, "Is this a mind game? Is it a Jedi mind trick? What's happened?" And they've been too confused to play the remaining 45.
Left bamboozled, like, what is the gaffer on?
That is so what it is. You've worked it out. Fuck's sake.
Because that second half, we were dragged down to their level and then some, weren't we? That was...
Everybody became shit.
Really bad. Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Genuinely, I was going to ask your thoughts. Like, what happened? Because I don't have the foggiest. How can we be, or appear to be, so in control for 45 minutes and then it just all go to pot within an instant?
It's so baffling because, like, I know that in the grand scheme of things, all that happened was our defence got turned twice and we lose the game as a result. I know that then, from a neutral perspective, for example, I have a Motherwell fan mate and an Aberdeen fan mate, and they were like, well, yeah, listen, it's a bad result. You should be winning that and it's bad. But when you look at the game, you're in total control of it and there's 2 moments because Dundee didn't show anything the rest of the time. And I get
2
that.
lapses of concentration, isn't it?
Yeah, and I do
9
get that.
times out of 10, we win that game.
Yeah, exactly. If we play that another 100 times, we'd win every other time. That would be the one time we don't win. However, you still have to go, well, that's still shit. Like, regardless of it, it's still bad. Like, you can't just go, oh, well, we should have won it. It's like, yeah, but we've also won games this season that we shouldn't have won.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. It's the story of Heart of Midlothian Football Club.
I just don't understand what happened, genuinely. I know I've said that about 4 times, but I've never seen this season. I've never seen a Nielsen team do that, where it's like they're so in control.
Quite the collapse.
Yeah, so in control one half, and then just like come out and look like a different side. It looked like the Championship side, where it was like Popescu, Berra, Castanier, Freer. It looked like that came back out.
And this is the thing, like, it sounds to me like you're going to be the more critical in this episode, which is bizarre given that, you know, I love to stick knife into Hearts whenever I can. Like, you can be annoyed at Robbie for certain matches, certain setups. You can't be annoyed at him here. This is solely on the players this time.
I think there's one thing you could be annoyed at, maybe, but I think it was kind of out of necessity that Taylor Moore... Well, 2 things, yeah. Taylor Moore is not a right wing back.
No.
Like, not at all. But he didn't have Smith or Atkinson. So
but that'll be folks' counter, isn't it? In the if this was such a problem area, we've got Jamie Brandon out on loan, Cammy Logan out on loan. Surely we'd have been, you know, everybody talks about how, and Robbie himself mentions that he likes to trim the squad down, work with a small group. And it's only circumstances like this where it comes back to bite you. Really.
It is, though. Yeah, it's a very individual example that out of 3 injuries in a team, the two of them are your two
No, of
players in the
course,
one
of course.
position. Like that
And
almost
the
never
other
happens.
within the same area of the park.
Yes, exactly. It's a very
Oh,
rare thing.
so hard.
Yeah, exactly.
We're back, baby. Come
Yeah.
on.
But apart from the subs, which we'll come on to, and Taylor Moore being in a position that is kind of necessity, yeah, I don't think you can. And people will get on at us, right? People will be like, you just defend Nielsen. I can safely say Adam does not just defend Nielsen. But if even Adam is saying you can't really blame Robbie for that, the players' attitudes just I don't even know if it was attitudes, just like, as you say, concentration levels and intensity levels just seem to fall off a cliff. Just
individual errors. It's as though everything out on the park that could have gone wrong did go wrong.
Yeah.
Look, the warning sign for me was, I think it's about 3 minutes into the second half, where Dundee have a free kick and they take it quickly. Charlie Adam just rolls it along the ground, and Zach Grudden is on the right-hand side in acres of space, but it's a team effort into the gloves of Gordon. And from there on in, that should have really been the wake-up call to the back line, I think, because Dundee equalised after 51 minutes. So again, this is the frustration where, okay, we've been pegged back, that's fine. This happens. We've still got, the best part of 40 minutes to go and find a winner or a couple goals to send us clear. Cammy Kerr intercepts as Barry Mackay looks to slide forward. Again, these things happen. He finds Danny Mullen, who passes out to Paul McMullen on the right-hand side. The two link up. Mullen is fed down the right, looks to chip inside to the Hearts box before it clips off Toby Civic, hits off the underside of the bar, and past Gordon in a flash, somehow won each, and Dundee are level. And it just felt from there on in that they were dragging us down to their level, because that was pathetic.
It's really unlucky for Civic. He does what you have to do. He has to make contact on that, because if he doesn't, and it ends up at the feet of a Dundee's player, people would be going ballistic at Civic, going, why have you not put a foot across? So I'm not really going to criticise that goal as much. I think Haring gets turned a bit too easily, but...
this isn't the goal for criticism.
Definitely not. It's not. It's just kind of like, okay, that happens. If, again, 9 times out of 10, that hits Civic and hits the post, goes out, Gordon catches it, it goes a mile wide. Like, it is the one time.
Hits the bar, lands on the top. Yeah,
exactly. It's the one time that it actually manages to ping in off the bar and go in. But yeah, the next goal, there is big criticism that can be given to one man in particular.
But in saying this, like, we've been pegged back, but I actually thought we looked to try and regain the lead fairly quickly. Taylor Moore and Peter Haring are exchanging passes before John Suter sends a wicked ball into Barry Mackay. And he just sort of reverses with his right foot, finds Ellis Sims in a great area, similar to the one they opened the scoring in. But this time, it's a decent save from Ian Lawler again. And... look, it's just annoying, because I thought it was going to be a carbon copy of that opening goal, McIver, and it's not.
Yeah, I thought what this week has proven, if it's proven anything, is that we really, really need to play John Suter every week, because speaking there about like creativity and like how Barry Mackay is the only one who's creative, Suter has shown in the last couple of games where he does that thing that he does about 4 or 5 times a game, where he picks the ball up on the right-hand side of the fence and just
breaks out.
Oh, fuck this, nobody else is moving. I'm just going to run forward.
Takes matters into his own feet, doesn't he? Oh,
we need that. Football. We need that so crucially, because...
I probably noticed it more in the second game than in this game,
definitely. But it was great, and I do think it is just a good save from Lawler. I think Sims does kind of everything right. And it's nice from Barry Mackay, but it's just like, for God's sake, it's another instant. I feel like there's been about 7 games this season where keepers have had worldies against us, and then you watch them in the next few weeks and they're terrible.
Oh, even my man Lawler in the cup against Peterhead. I mean, we're going to come to that. Let's just, but again, all through Barry Mackay.
Yeah.
And like another chance, Peter Haring sends a long ball forward. Sims flicks on from Mackay out wide, rushes into the box, looks to centre, being the unselfish player that he is. But Liam Fontaine diverts it goalwards and eventually Dundee clear. Liam Boyce had a deflected effort saved. You had Kingsley centering for Boyce, who leaps like a salmon, but ultimately finishes like Connor Salmon because he heads well over into the Gorgie stand. And Barry Mackay smashes one wide in what would be his final contribution. I need to pull this up right here, right now, because the substitutions annoyed me. Oh, coincidentally, I've just fired up live score. St Johnstone are 1-0 up at Pittodrie.
No, they're not.
Courtesy of Callum Hendry in the second minute. So that's great.
Oh, of course this happens.
Us meeting them on Saturday.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
Oh,
sorry, mate. I was getting up the subs there. So, Andy Halliday off. Josh Ginnelly on 65 minutes. Okay. 75 minutes. Barry Mackay off. Ben Woodburn on. Ben
We made
Woodburn.
headlines last week after our talk about Ben Woodburn.
We did.
In terms of that seemed to be the main thing people took from the episode. That everybody just get focused on our apparent I don't know how to politely put it.
Hatred.
I was going to say we're not
It's
massive fans.
No, it's hatred. Do you know what it is? I was thinking about this today. Since he was given the number 9 shirt, that was it. That number 9 shirt, as far as I'm concerned, is cursed.
Yeah.
Who's the last decent number 9 that we had? Can somebody tell me?
Was
Kevin Kyle?
Was So number 9 at any point?
No.
Nah.
Lafferty?
Was Lafferty number 9? Was
I think
Zeefuke, wasn't he?
No, I want to say it's Lafferty. But prior to that, it was probably Kevin Kyle. It's been the best part of a decade.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it was Washington.
Connor Washington as well. Yeah, great. And then to give pound my misery further, Benny Beningame hooked after 80 minutes for Gary Mackay, Stephen.
Why? No, listen, I get it. People accuse me of bias. And I'm not above bias on this show, right? I will happily be biased to people I like and biased against people I don't like. Because everybody is. Everybody's biased to people, even if they pretend they're not. But no one can now argue that Cammy Devlin... The solution is not drop Cammy Devlin, right? Because that game was crying out for Cammy Devlin. We needed somebody. He just run on the middle of the park and go, right, fuck this. I'm regularly winning the ball back. When Benny came off, it should have been for Devlin, not GMS. Now, I'm actually going to be less...
I think
critical.
Cammy Devlin would contribute more going forward than Gary Mackay's team.
Well, this is what I was about to say. I'm not going to be as critical of GMS as I would have been if we recorded this before the Livingston game.
I was going to say, but that's only because of the weekends.
Yes.
You were praising his performance, which I don't get. I thought it was awful.
We'll get to that. But on Wednesday night against Dundee, he was fucking abysmal. Gino, I want to give Gino a pass out of the 3. Not a pass generally, but out of the 3, he was definitely the player that impacted the game. He still didn't do anything, but he at least touched the ball.
Hold on a second. Impacted the game but didn't do anything. I can remember a shocking effort of his from way out before Dundee.
Impacted the game.
Yeah, just before Dundee get their winner. That's the difference.
Yeah, that's it. That's what I meant by impacted. He at least did a memorable thing.
Niall McGinn is crocked. He set up the winner for Dundee and contributed more than the 3 numpties that we brought on in that game. I will not hear any different.
Ben Woodburn touched the ball.
When is Ben Woodburn going to perform? The fact that he is on £10,000 a week makes me sick to my stomach.
Is that what he's on?
Allegedly at Liverpool.
Jesus, wet man.
And I don't want to know how much of that Hearts are paying. Let's not. I mean, seriously. He is just the most infuriating player I think I've come across. I can't remember a bigger shite bag to play for Hearts than Ben Woodburn. Just doesn't look interested at all.
Yeah, for me, it is his attitude. He seems like... And listen,
He just lazes around, mate. It doesn't even press, doesn't do anything. Just seems like I'm going to have a weekly hatred for Ben Woodburn. My Tuesday is just going to become a hate Woodburn day. But honest to God, I'm watching him score the winner at Perth at the weekend now.
I know.
I'm saying all this.
Yeah. We don't
makes
know.
Me sick to my stomach.
We don't know what's happening in his personal life. I don't know if he doesn't care. But all that happens is I watch him go out in that park every week now, and he never looks like he cares. And that's at least what you can say about GMS and Gino is that they don't. They at least look arsed. They might
it's not for the one to try him.
Yeah, they're just rubbish. But Woodburn doesn't look like he even tries, which is he is the anti-Cammy Devlin. Devlin, even when he's having a bad game and he's playing poorly, he still will run about. He'll do everything he can. He'll kick
It's like Rudy Scatchell without the talent.
Yes, that's it. That's who he is.
And Rudy got away with it because he could ping one,
magic.
Top banjo. Yeah. When's Ben Woodburn going to do that?
He did it against Dundee United, mate, 9 years ago.
That feels like 9 years ago. Let's talk about the winner. Because
let's talk about Taylor Moore specifically.
I want to move on to the Livingston game before I realise that we spent a lot of time on this Dundee defeat and far too much time in comparison to the game because it was rubbish. But Max Anderson, first of all, absolutely acres of space. John Suter looks to be the only defender that wants to go and tackles well, albeit sends it into a wide area. Niall McGinn, who I mentioned, came off the bench for Dundee. Centres for Danny Mullen, who has got a fantastic goal-scoring record specifically against us. I feel like he only scores against us.
I know, yeah.
Diverts home. Taylor Moore is he's snoozing at the back stick.
I don't know what he's doing.
He's watching it.
He was
watching the goals at Ibrox. He's watching this again. Play the game. Honestly. Pressure on the ball. That's the first thing you're told. Go to the ball. But no. He watches Niall McGinn pick his spot. Danny Mullen just runs past him. He can't believe his luck. And he slots home. Brilliant. Albeit off the bar again. Fantastic.
Just the idea that you have to tell a professional footballer to play the game.
Go to the ball. It's the same with Jordan Roberts. What was that shout last season that you'd said that you'd heard Robbie say?
Oh, yeah.
Jordan, you need to run.
Yeah, Jordan, you need to run. Yeah.
Are they still actually that brain dead that nothing registers, that they need to do something in order to perform? I forgot about
that. That was Alloa away.
That stuck with me. I can't erase that from my memory. This is exactly the same. I'm going to think about that goal morning, noon and night.
I just don't even understand.
Hate Dundee. Why have Dundee's points come against us? We've given them 4 points at Tynecastle this season. That is tragic.
I just love that. Just like all the 43 minutes that we've had came out in that one sentence there. I hate Dundee.
We have given Dundee near enough a fifth of their points across the season in Gorgie alone.
God. A sobering realisation.
They'd only won once away from home prior to that game. That's their second away win. And they've picked up a grand total of 8 points.
This is
half
the
their points on the road have come at Tynecastle.
Maybe you can't be annoyed. Maybe you just have to laugh at it. Because it's so ridiculous. You just have to go, get what? Fuck it. Fine.
Oh my God.
And then nothing else happened for the rest of the game.
No, that was it. That was literally it. We tried to respond and didn't.
Yeah.
Great.
Still 10 points clear, though.
Murder. Absolute murder. That was all she wrote. Rubbish. But that being said, let's just move on to the second game now, because I thought the midweek match was eye-bleeding. This took eye-bleeding to a new level. Scottish Cup, round of 16. Yes, the draw we wanted. Livingston at home. Let's go around the grounds before we crack on. Elsewhere in the round of 16 in the Scottish Cup, Saturday the 12th of February. I want to get your thoughts on this. Motherwell 2, Aberdeen 1, despite the Dons taking the lead after, I believe it was 3 minutes through Christian Ramirez. A game which has ultimately cost Stephen Glass his job. Look, we're going to touch on the ties here now. Anyway, who do you think will get the Aberdeen job? Who would you like to see get the Aberdeen job?
I actually think it's one and the same for both answers. I think and would like Jack Ross to get it because they'll be rubbish.
I think you might be right. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, I think who's this? However, though, I've seen in the last day Charlie Nicholas has been like, get Ollie in.
What is Charlie Nicholas smoking? I woke up this morning and saw him touting Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and I was thinking, am I still asleep? Yeah. Is this like a weird paradox in my dream, or what's going on here?
Then they're linked with this. Is it Norwegian manager?
Haven't the foggiest.
Not Ollie.
I saw somebody claim today, I can't remember who it was, that Aberdeen should look overseas for the managers. It might have been Willie Miller. I feel like it was Willie Miller now.
I don't know.
And that they shouldn't just look in Scotland. I noticed Derek Adams has been sacked by Bradford and has moved to within joint favourites. So
I hope really I'd like it if it's Derek Adams as well. Like,
yeah, Derek Adams or Jack Dross will do me. Either of those I'm happy with.
Whoever that Norwegian manager is really good, so I hope it isn't him.
And I don't want Jim Goodwin to get it either.
Apparently he's been ruled out.
Yeah, I see that St Mirren have just said absolutely no chance.
Reportedly $250,000 compensation.
Yeah. Interesting. Let's see what happens up at Pittodrie. But of course, elsewhere in the cup, Dundee United edged past Championship side Partick Thistle at Fir Hill. Great goal from Ian Harkes. St Mirren ended Kelty Hearts Scottish Cup fairy tale with a 4-0 win in Paisley. More on them to come. Annan Athletics' dream was also ended by Rangers 3-0 in the last game, the late kickoff on the Saturday. Sunday, there was 2 ties. Arbroath took the lead against Hibernian, but ultimately fell to a 3-1 defeat at Gayfield. Craig White and I thought the Ghosts were going to, come back out and haunt the high bees, but sadly it was not to be. Had that on at work, actually. So that was great. Fired up the laptop and thought, you know what? I'll just have it on in the background, and then as soon as Arbroath took the lead, department's silent. I'm up giving it, yes, come on! But of course, it was to no avail. And Celtic cruised past Wraith Rovers with a 4-0 scoreline. And the final tie was on Valentine's Day. Love was in the air up at Peterhead, but the Blue Toon were defeated 3-0 by Dundee. What did you make of the Saturday, Sunday, and Monday ties in Scotland's greatest cup competition, McIver?
So on the way back from the Livingston game, I actually heard Stephen Glass's interview, and he said a thing that when I heard it, I went, oh, he's getting sacked. Because he was asked, I can't remember who the interviewer was, but it was, how do you feel the fan reaction was?
Is it Richard Gordon, I think?
It may have been. I can't remember.
Saturday, I think.
He said, Stephen Glass, he was like, what do you make of the fan reception? It's obviously very harsh in terms of, they're no loving you right now, Stephen. And he says, I fully understand it. Now, in fairness, we've not won this trophy in over 30 years. So, and it's like, you don't say that. After you've been knocked out in the round of 16 as Aberdeen, you don't go, well, we've not won it in 30 years. So, is it really that bad?
Particularly also when you're culpable for elimination in the League Cup at the hands of Championship side Wraith Rovers, having fielded a supposed weaker team.
Yeah.
And then lost.
Yeah, definitely.
And you could look at the cup competitions and say, do you know what? Sometimes you get that little bit of leeway if you reach the latter stages or go on to win them. Eliminations and not reaching a cup quarter final to, with all due respect, Wraith Rovers and then Motherwell is not a good look. But you absolutely love to see it. I mean, everybody told Aberdeen they don't know how lucky they are.
Yeah, it was never going to work.
And now look at them. So, you know what? Inject that content into my veins. You love to see it.
Stephen Glass is never going to work. It's been proven it. Dundee United Partick Thistle, if you just looked at it, it looked like it was taking place in 1914 by the state of that pitch, by the way.
That is a disgrace.
No,
and I know that the ground sharing with obviously Queen's Park or whatever playing their games at the minute, but that is shocking.
Yeah, it's very.
What
very
are the Queen's
true.
Park groundsmen doing? Get them to work on it.
Yeah, true, exactly.
Round robin, come on.
Yeah. get it right up your Kelty Hearts. So St Mirren won that. Ha 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 ha
ha. Why the hatred towards Kelty Hearts?
Because at my local team are Gala, and Kelty Hearts just broke the Lowland League by paying guys several £1,000s to play, and then we're like, we've actually deserved this. This is actually on merit. It's like, is it right? So
this is where your hatred for Barry Ferguson also arises as well.
Yeah, apparently he's a good manager. Apparently he's a good manager just because he took fucking Kelty Hearts.
Ask Allo Athletic fans. They're obviously also on the lookout for a new manager. Would Stephen Glass take that job? Would Jack Ross?
Jack Ross go back.
Reunion back to Allo?
Exactly.
We don't know. What's Neil Lennon up to? Get him on the blower. He'll take either of those gigs.
And then obviously our game that will come to me. I watched all Hibs Arbroath. I just do not get what people are saying about Rocky Bashiri. He's rubbish.
He's terrible.
I've
just realised another. Everybody seems to be sacking managers. Queen of the South are another one. And obviously being a Hearts. Yeah, Magic Johnston's away. And Big Sandy Clark.
Very sad. But
very sad. They look as though they're going to get relegated. They're hopeless. But yeah, talking about hopeless, Rocky Bashiri, you are spot on.
I just don't get it. He's just awful. I fully rate Hibs fans going, Kevin Nisbet scored against Arbroath like he did against Cove. He's back. It's like, right, okay, sound.
Take your word for it.
Yeah, exactly. Wraith are denied a stone wall penalty against Celtic. I have no idea how it's avoided. And then Celtic are given the most mental penalty where fucking Thompson just goes, I'm just going to boot random folk. I don't need to see who it is. I'll just book a random. I believe
it was Sean Mackey that should have been booked, and then it was Ross Matthews that did get booked.
Yeah, and if Sean Mackey had been correctly booked, he should have been sent off because he was already on a booking.
Fantastic. Great officiating. That reminded me, I was receiving messages about it, that reminded me of the Kieran Gibbs.
Yeah, the Arsenal game.
Oxlade-Chamberlain mistaken identity. Is it Oxlade-Chamberlain handballs, but Kieran Gibbs is the one that gets sent off.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And then there was an equally baffling penalty decision up at Peterhead where the most
stonewall penalty I have ever seen at 0-1 hauls the Blue Toon back in the tie if it's given and they score. And the officials just aren't interested.
He literally, for people who haven't seen
I was out on my Valentine's night, but then I saw loads of tweets about it and then subsequently saw it this morning. How that is not given is a disgrace.
For people who haven't seen it, Lawler in goals fumbles the ball from a pass back and just kind of spears the Dundee, the Peterhead striker and just goes, nah, it's fine. I've got it. Play on. And then in our game that we'll speak about, there was two mental penalty choices that we didn't get. What has been happening?
The Livingston game was awful. Like I've got
fucking hate Nick Walsh. I hate Nick Walsh.
Nick Walsh is the worst referee in this country.
He's the worst referee in this country. Yeah, like no one's close. Bobby Madden isn't close.
They're all bad. But
Kevin Clancy isn't close. Don Robertson isn't close. The Nick Walsh is on an island of his own making when it comes to being the worst ref by far.
I'm just going to talk about changes and then I'm going to hand over to you for the Livingston game because I feel like you've got a lot to vent. So again, 3 changes that Robbie made from the Dundee defeat ahead of Saturday's match. Andy Halliday, Alex Cochrane and Cammy Devlin returning to the team, taking the places of Taylor Moore, Peter Haring and Liam Boyce. Hearts going one up top, really, sort of a 3-4-3, that sole striker, as opposed to the 3-5-2 that we've been crying out for. Craig Gordon in goal, back 3 of Kingsley, Civic, Suter, Cochrane and Smith as wing-backs with Beningame and Devlin in the middle of the park, and Barry Mackay and Andy Halliday supporting Ellis Sims in attack.
So, I don't think it was the 3-4-3. Right. I think it was a 5-3-1-1.
At home to Livingston.
Because I don't think Halliday was out wide. I think he was one of the 3 in the middle. I think he was playing centre mid. And that's the first thing I want to speak about. I want to speak about that. Why, if we're playing Andy Halliday in the middle of the park, is Peter Haring not starting? Peter Haring is our best midfielder, right? I'm saying this right now. He's our best one, right? It is unbelievable. If you're playing with a 2...
Aaron McInniff's another that must be thinking...
Yes.
What
Finlay Pollock's there as well.
Yeah.
Finlay Pollock's on the bench.
So you can add him to the I think we're going to start like an outcasts club where Aaron McInnes, Josh Ginnelly, Ben Woodburn, Gary Mackay-Steven all must be wondering, what have I got to do to earn a place in this team when there's guys in my position or square pegs being played in round holes ahead of me in my position that are earning chances and I'm not?
Now, second point I want to say, and apparently I'm not allowed to do this. According to Twitter this week, I'm not allowed to do this. I'm not allowed to criticise Benny Beningame. That's apparently something I'm not allowed to do. Right?
Very carefully.
This is the thing.
Congolese king.
I'm really getting frustrated with him because
he was all right in the Dundee game.
Was he though? Was he? Was he all right?
Look, I think anything that we were conjuring up was through he and Barry Mackay.
I think what actually happened was he was playing a 5-yard pass to Barry Mackay, and Barry Mackay was then running 25 yards on his own day and shit.
I think that's very harsh. There was a couple of link-ups where my man Benny's obviously too feared to shoot, so instead just gives it to Barry Mackay.
That's what it is.
You're the most creative player. On you go. This ain't my game.
It's not, this is a great opportunity. It's, I don't know what to do, Barry. Take it.
Inside, they're like, I don't know, there's like an inner Benny just screaming. The angel and the devil are like presenting themselves on his shoulders. You're a great passer of the ball, Benny. Oh, but don't have a puppet goal, whatever you do.
don't. Right. I think Benny Beningame, I've said it before, is one of the best players I've ever seen at Hearts winning the ball back. Right?
Unbelievable.
I genuinely can't think of anybody better in my life. Because other players were good at it, but their strengths were elsewhere. I feel like if we played a 3 in the middle with Benny just in like the Busquets role, just sat in front of the back 3 or 4 and just cleaning up everything and doing little passes. Now, what I said on Twitter was that it annoys me that Benny never passes forward. 99% of his passes are either sideways or backwards. People then took that as meaning I'm wanting him to start spraying 40-yard passes or like playing Barry Mackay style penetrating passes. That is not what I mean at all. That is not his role. That's not his game. He can't do that. What I don't want is just for 120 minutes against Livingston is him just going, I've got the ball now. We'll just turn around. Sibic, here you go. Suter, here you go. Harry,
how many backwards passes did Benny and several others play?
This is the thing.
It was unbelievable. And don't get me wrong, keep possession by all means, but at least look like we're going to penetrate with it. And we didn't for the best part of 2 hours. And I was just sat there. I brought my missus, and she's probably thinking, what on earth have I done to deserve this? My old man forked out a ticket, and literally that's where that quote arose. Why on earth do you fork out for this shite every single week?
I will say this.
Recycle possession by all means, but Jesus wept.
However, I never understand people booing, right? I never get that. I don't do that. It's your own prerogative. I just think it's a bit weird. I definitely
want to boo. You've paid your dough.
Yeah.
You.
I personally disagree, but fine. But I definitely disagree booing at half time. I didn't understand that. It was like
she couldn't get that either.
Like it's
she's
mental.
Canadian, so they're just like
they're too
happy, clappy, and just like enthusiastic. I was like, I'll take you to the cesspit.
Yeah,
and we're in the family section, and there's a kid in front of us going way constantly. Love that.
This is the thing. I'm saying all this, and I was frustrated by so many people in the Livy game. But at the same time, I was going, I don't care how we play as long as we win. Because in cup competitions, the performance means fuck all. I've seen too many times across the years us playing really well and then get knocked out. I've seen us play dreadfully and get through. In that 2012 run, we needed to go to replays against both St Johnstone and St Mirren. We barely beat Talbot. Yeah, exactly.
We were lucky against Talbot.
Yeah, we needed it was
either our goal shouldn't have stood or they had a goal wrongfully chopped off, didn't they?
Both.
Yeah.
Their keeper and defender collided with a head knock, and Gordon Smith just went, "Lol, I'm just going to score."
And again, the 2012 semi, like we could say that Gary Hooper was offside, but Craig Beattie, is it really a pen? Yes,
maybe, but that's the thing.
I'll say so.
I'm being critical here of certain aspects. I think Benny is great. I love Benny. He just annoys me that because there was about 4 times in this game where he did pass forward and every one of them was great. And it's like, Benny, just even do that half the time. Even if half the time you fancy going backwards, other half, just do that. As you say, there's literally nothing to speak about in terms of the game, except for in both halves of extra time, we should have had a penalty.
Yeah. But the frustration is that it went to extra time, I guess, because possession for possession's sake, I'll pass it to you, you pass it to me, we'll pass around the back three, kid on like we're Barca, maybe a couple passes in the midfield if we're feeling a little bit more ambitious, try and carve something out. Oh, no, it hasn't happened. But let's just recycle possession and we'll pass it along the back and in midfield and elsewhere. I actually thought Livy were quite unlucky in the first half. I think Bruce Anderson had a couple of chances, but pretty tame efforts, if we're being honest. I like Anderson as a player, but I don't think you can really depend on him for, I don't know, double-figure goals.
No.
Beyond that. But like from a Hearts perspective, considering how rank the Dundee performance was, the fact that we're not on a great run, I think it's 1 win in 4 league games now. And this was, the Cup, a totally different competition, a great chance to secure our passage to the last 8. Ultimately, we have, but I just thought it'd be a lot more convincing, a professional performance. And I guess that was the case in the previous round with Talbot. That was a potential banana skin, and we overcame that with a thoroughly dominant display and professional performance, like I say. But it was anything but that.
Well,
it was awful.
Was it? I would say it was professional in terms of we totally dominated the game. And we will have to admit, we're making the point there that Bruce Anderson missed a couple of chances, which he did. But Strycek made a couple of great saves against us.
He did.
As well, and that was the thing, watching the highlights back, I was actually like, oh, we had more chances than I remember us having. There was like Sims chances as well.
Recently with kind of, I don't know whether you'd call it like an optical illusion. They seem to paint a false picture when I'm at the game whoever's like composing these highlights packages. I slated them last season. They're doing a fantastic job because they make us look like a competent football team.
So that's the thing. I don't think Livy, like Dundee was much worse than Livy. I don't think.
I would agree with that.
But
Livy, equally, I think Livy will feel more unlucky that they didn't take anything. Like Dundee were somewhat lucky. I feel as though Livy were pretty unlucky.
I don't think they would.
They executed their game plan, really. They knew that if they could nullify Hearts' threat, then they might get a chance or two. Albeit on another day, they might argue that Bruce Anderson could take one. And I hate Livingston. I'm not going to give them any praise, but they were somewhat unlucky, I felt, because we were awful.
I don't think we were awful. I think we weren't good in front of goal, but we absolutely dominated that game. Now, part of it is obviously because, and we also need to take this into consideration, Livy played that game for penalties. Livy came into this game going, we want penalties.
They got what they wanted out of it.
So it's hard to go, well,
I'm more frustrated with the Dundee display because it felt like we did enough to win the game.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced that was the case against Livingston, if I'm honest.
I think it's a bit of both where it's like, we should have done more in the final third, but at the same time, they regularly, whenever we had the ball, had 11 men behind the ball.
And I say that their best chances fell in the first half, and again, it was to Anderson, and they didn't take them. So.
Martindale said that. He was like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we played them off the park. And he was like, they were very dominant, but he's like, I think we could have taken our chances better. But you can say that about any team ever.
I think that's fair. I think that's a fair reflection of the game. But look, progressed on penalties. That's all that matters. Do you want to talk about the shootout?
Because they were all good.
I can remember Obelai missing. And I say this: the only chance that we were really lucky with was when they hit the inside of the post in the second half, and remarkably, it somehow stayed out.
Oh yeah, the deflection again.
That was like nothing I've ever seen. I was baffled, and we were sat in the Gorgie, literally behind the goal, just looking dead ahead, and my jaw just dropped in sheer disbelief that they hadn't somehow taken the lead.
The penalties were good, and I want to particularly shout out to 2 people. Haring's penalty was great. Haring's penalty was so good, and Sims scored a really important penalty.
Good.
Because
I'm not going to pretend that our number 9 took a penalty.
I didn't celebrate.
I was arguing he was going to miss.
Yeah,
as soon as I saw him step up, I was like, oh my God. She's like, what's the matter? I'm like, he's going to miss. I'm fully convinced he's going to miss.
I didn't celebrate. I just turned and went, right, come on, Gordon. That's all I did after we scored. But Sims's penalty is really important because it's the penalty after Oberline misses. So it's the penalty to get us ahead. And
yeah,
they were all great penalties. Gordon was the hero, obviously, with 2 great saves. I didn't actually realise he saved Oberline's penalty until you watch it back, and he gets the tiniest of fingertips.
No, Oberline's was the very last, wasn't it?
Oh, it was. Who am I talking about? The first one.
Who's the first one that missed?
I can't even mind. That one.
2 seconds.
Livy, I thought Livy just hit the post for their first missed penalty, but you actually watch it back. Gordon gets the slightest of touches on it. Now, I don't know if it's already hitting the post anyway, but still gets touching it.
It was Christian Montano.
Yes, Montano's. So Sims takes the penalty after Montano's, and it's huge. It's a really, that's the most crucial penalty, and he looked calm as anything. So that was great. And this is the thing. I'm being critical there of certain people. I just want to quickly mention, I thought Gary Mackay came on and did very well. Gary Mackay-Steven, I thought he was very good when he came on. Because I actually thought he did stuff, and he never does anything. And I was like, oh, he's actually put 5 crosses in. They've come to nothing, but he's actually done something.
I couldn't believe we actually made all our substitutes as well. That was nice.
Yeah, that's
remarkable.
Another aspect. How did Finlay Pollock not get on instead of Woodburn? I don't understand.
Let's just not speak about him. I hate him.
We're through, and that's all I give a shit about. Yeah.
Again, if you'd offered us the chance to be in the last 8 at 4:45, come Saturday afternoon, we
won in the last 8 of the 4:45.
We had to wait a little bit later on. Yeah. I just realised after I said that, I was like, you fanny. So yeah, we had to wait a little bit later. However, we are in the last 8. Shall we touch on the draw? What did you make of the draw? If I go through the ties, Heart and Midlothian, of course, will host St Mirren at Tynecastle. Dundee take on Rangers at Dens Park. Celtic also travel to Dundee as they take on United at Tannadice. And Motherwell host Hibernian at Fir Park. Come on, Hearts and Motherwell.
Come on, both the Dundee clubs. Jesus.
And the Dundee clubs.
Yeah.
Never did I ever think that I'd be cheering on the Dundee clubs.
I know.
But here we are.
Listen, it's almost the best draw you can ask for us. The fact that we get to the quarters.
What would have been better? Bear in mind, we've just lost to Dundee at Tynecastle.
Dundee United.
And have contributed a heck of a lot of half their away points so far this season.
Dundee United at home.
Nice. That 5-2 win, just playing over, and the 2-0 win at Tannadice.
Yeah, we're loving it against them this season.
But we'll just get beat up there in the final meeting, the third. Oh, quickly before we touch on the cup, delighted that we never have to play Dundee this season again. Hope you enjoy the championship next season.
Oh God, I forgot about that actually.
Thank God that's finished, and hopefully this Saturday against St Johnstone will be the last time we meet them this season as well.
Yeah.
Pricks. And particularly because it's at McDermott.
Oh, yeah. Fucking hell.
Christ.
Yeah, chuffed with that. The fact that we've got to the quarters and avoided both the Old Firm and Hibs is obviously a bonus. You have to view it.
Step away from Hampden. Come on!
But this is the thing. First round, we beat Talbot. Second round, we don't beat the team after 90 minutes. Third round, we get St Mirren. We've got a 22-year-old Australian right back in the side. It is happening. It's happening, lads.
Just to meet Celtic in the semi and Hibs in the final.
Yeah, exactly. I hope that isn't the case. I hope we get Dundee United in the next round and then Dundee in the final so we can beat them properly at Hampden.
Oh, I don't want Dundee in the final. I'd take United. A Hearts United final would be quite nice.
That would be great. That would be amazing.
Not Dundee. That's just got bad vibes all over it. But yeah, I agree. The perfect draw. And look, I'm hoping that we can find the perfect remedy to put an end to our horrid recent run when we travel to Perth. Obviously, a trip to Paisley the following week. Perth and Paisley.
You can probably guess what next week's title is going to be called.
But how are we feeling about the St Johnstone game? I'm going to check. Last I checked, it was half-time, and it was 1-0 to the Saints at Pittodrie, like I say, through that Callum Hendry goal. Yep, 6 minutes. That is quite funny as well. Callum Hendry on loan at Aberdeen last season was absolutely rank rotten, and there it is. I was doing the obviously my preview for that game. I've got 1 each as my prediction, so if Aberdeen grab an equaliser, I'm laughing. 3 goals in the last 5 meetings. What, like... 3 of those games have ended 0-0, and the others have been 1-0.
Wow.
This game needs put out the top flight. St Johnstone need put out the top flight. I don't want to ever have to travel to McDiarmid Park as a Hearts fan again. Rubbish stadium, as I've said on this podcast before, just merely a few weeks ago. Go back and check the episode if you haven't already. But our record in Perth is rank. You mentioned the 2012 Cup win there. That was the last time we won in Perth.
Yep.
After extra time.
Yeah, we've not won the league since 2010.
2010? How old were you in 2010? 13?
13,
And I was 12. I turned 24 this year. That's half my life ago. We've been without a win in Perth against these Muppets. Sort it out, Hearts. This is the chance. Because if they go down, I don't want to add several other years onto that blooming fixture. Come on.
We're not going to win.
We're not. What's your score prediction? What's your team prediction? Are we going to change up the shape? What's going to happen?
I would play this. Oh, quick thing, and it's on this. Thank fuck Michael Smith's back. Because he was notably better.
Correct.
Notably better.
Hallelujah.
So, I would play Gordon in goals, Smith and Cochrane wing backs, Kingsley, Sibic, Suter, Devlin, Haring, Mackay, Sims, Boyce.
Ooh, Benny getting dropped.
Yeah, I wouldn't be bothered about Benny playing at all. I just think Haring came on and settled us down both games.
You say that, and that appears like it's a 3-5-2. That'll end up being a 3-4-3, and Liam Boyce will be out on the wing, won't he?
I know, yeah, I'm saying that. That has to be a 3-5-2. Barry Mackay in the 10 with Sims and Boyce up front. If it's not, and you need it to be a 3-4-3, I would drop Boyce and play GMS wide left.
I was going to say exactly that. I'm surprised that you're dropping GMS after... Well, I say dropping. I'm surprised you're not giving GMS a run out, given you thought they impressed against Livy. Would you change up the shape then? No.
I don't know. I don't think, by the way, the reason
Do you remember earlier on in the season when it was great selection headaches and now it's back to shite selection headaches?
The reason I'm dropping Benny is because I don't think Benny and Devlin work as a 2 away from home, and I'd rather Devlin.
Big Pedro's got to play away from home.
Actually, no. I'm changing it. Haring and McInnes in the middle.
Wow.
Get some creativity. Play McInnes in his actual position and see what he can do. Then, if he's not doing well, bring on either Devlin or Benny, depending on what you need. If you need more energy, bring on Devlin. If you want to settle it down, bring on Benny.
And if we're... Dare I say it?
And if we're 5-0 up, bring on Pollock.
If we're under the cosh, then Benny's the sub in that circumstance.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Something like that. Okay. And then we'll get beat 2-0.
Oh, that then rules out what I was going to ask you for my score prediction. I'm going to try to be as optimistic as I can. I'm going to say, bear in mind they're winning tonight, 1 each. Of
course they are winning tonight. Of course they turn into some form of form when we're about to travel.
Watch it be a repeat of our performance in Perth earlier on in the season, where we absolutely batter them, drop 2 points, and I come on here next week raging at the fact that we've not beaten St Johnstone, that they're absolute jobbies, and they're currently occupying the relegation playoff place. If St Jobby take another couple points off us, I'm going to be livid. Don't let this happen, Hearts. We've waited far too long for a win in Perth against those pricks. Make sure that you put an end to that. It was about time we regained some confidence. We've got some big fixtures coming up. Come on.
Well then, if you want to hear how angry Adam will get next week inevitably, please do come back. But thank you for listening to us get angry about the other games this week. It's been a great
wholesome content, baby.
Exactly.
As only this football club can provide. Love you, Hearts.
So, a massive thank you to everyone who has listened this week. We have been Perth to Paisley. You can get us on all the socials at Perth to Paisley. We've also got an email, perthtopaisley@gmail.com. If you have enjoyed it, please leave a review on your podcast platform of choice. It massively helps us with algorithms and stuff like that. If you're watching it on YouTube and you can see us getting annoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, comment. I've been getting a lot of abuse in the comments for not wearing Hearts tops, and I'm not going to bow to peer pressure. It's maintaining this. Adam's
You're your own man. I like that.
Exactly.
I rate that.
Adam, where can they hit you to provide you with peer pressure on all the socials?
And they can fire me abuse on all forms of social media at Adam T. Kendall, mate. And what about yourself?
I'm at DMcIver22. We'll be back next week to discuss all the fallout from being up in Perth the last time this season and all the other stuff. But until then, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Key to Faith, Monagite!